made it. I'm so sorry for the delay. Technology wasn't being my best friend today. I turned my main machine on and got just a completely blank screen, which is not a good start. And then the streaming software didn't connect to the video, but we are here now. So good evening and welcome to you. It is Thursday, the 11th of September 2025. Good evening to everybody who's joined us live. A hi to you, Caroline, and good evening or morning, afternoon to anybody who's watching on catch up or replay. This is our Thursday evening session, and we are going to be using our stamp set of the week, which I'm just trying to locate. It's all hiding from me today, but I will find it. I promise. Oh, I know exactly where it is. It's in the other room, so bear with me 1 second. It's because I was using it the other day to make some more cards. So, bear with me 1 minute and I shall return. I'm back. Oh, you're coming in, Gina. Right. Couldn't even remember the name of the stamp set. So the stamp set was called Christmas Greenery, but we're doing a non-Christmas version by using this stamp here rather than the poinsettia stamp. So this is the card, or this one, that I made live on Monday morning. So I used one of the Everyday Arches dies to cut out that shape, which fitted that element perfectly, and then I just stamped and coloured in nice and easy, and then I stamped a separate thanks sentiment which I popped up on dimensionals, and then I've also stamped in the background, if you can see that. And then this one is the same. I did this at a bit of an angle, and on this one I stamped the sentiment straight onto the Arches panel. And then here is another one made for coffee and card, and I just added a little butterfly detail. So that is what we're making tomorrow, Friday the 12th of September, and also next Monday for coffee and card. What I wanted to do was up the ante a little bit and do something with a little bit more detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp and I'm going to die cut this element here. So Caroline, when we did our session on Tuesday, very cleverly stamped 3 sets in landscape, and did a fabulous job. So what I'm going to do is the cheats version of that without any masking, and I'm going to stamp 2, and then I'm going to stamp and die cut the 3rd one. These are the dies that come with the stamp set if you buy it as a bundle, and you can also obviously buy these on their own. This cuts out the poinsettia, and then this one here cuts out the element that we have, which is this one here. So I'm going to stamp and cut that out and apply that on the top. I'm using the postage dies for that. in addition to cutting out these main stamped elements, we also have a separate bow and holly leaves and holly berries, this beautiful background foliage, and also a beautiful pine piece of foliage. So you get a lot in the set of the dies, obviously the ones that match, but also you've got this lovely bow. And what I might try and do is, I was looking for our velvet paper, which is in our new online exclusive for September, but I couldn't find the red velvet because I thought that would look really nice. Hi Trudy. So I'm going to use some red glimmer paper to cut out the bow. It may be too big for what I want, in which case I'll discard it, but I've got it there ready. So this is Christmas Greenery, but I really do love the stamps, both this one here, which will feature again when we do a Christmas card, and this one here that I've used for these cards here. Right, let's get rid of the wadding on my screen and just get on and do some stamping. So I've got some early espresso ink. I'm going to stamp the floral image to the side and to the side, and then I'm going to stamp on a separate piece of card and cut out that. So my plan is to have 1, 2, 3. So taking the inspiration from Caroline on Tuesday, and you can see her sample if you look at my reel or the photos on my Facebook page from today and yesterday. Okay, let's stamp this. I'll need a background piece of card. This is a bit of a light early espresso ink. I hope it will be enough, and I'll just do some very quick colouring, and I'm going to do it in that lovely red. I've got Poppy Parade pens, but you could use any red that you've got. I think the glimmer paper that I've got is most like real red. And while I remember, don't forget to check out our items that are in the last chance list. A lot of the stamps are on at half price. If they were the cling stamps, I noticed Unbounded Love, which is the one that's got lots of sentiments on, that is now £12. So definitely worth checking out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the bow, I think, just off the bottom. I have no idea on the spacing, so I'm just playing it by ear. You know me. I'm still inking up the majority of the stamp, even though I'm cutting it off at that point. So just pop that one on there, and then my next one is going to go on there. I might need to restamp that a little bit further over, possibly. Right, I've got a spare piece of card. That really was a stroke of luck, because I wasn't expecting that. I was just scouring my table for a spare piece, and there it was. And I'm just looking out, and the sky is the most peculiar colour. It's really orange out there. Obviously it must be a beautiful sunset. And then on the other side I've got really deep clouds, so I've no idea what's going on out there. Okay, so I'm hoping when I cut this out, this is going to sit on there, and I might raise it up and then add that little bow. And interestingly enough, the bow in the dies, if I remember it, as a separate piece, so I can just, although it's all one die, it cuts the 3 pieces separately, the background, the bow, and then the centerpiece, so I could just use that little bit. So we'll see when we get to the die cutting what we do with that. So I'm going to probably put a sentiment across the top. Let us do a quick bit of colouring. So I've got light and dark poppy parade just for speed as much as anything, and let me grab some greenery. What have I got here? Light and dark granny apple green. And I hope you joined us yesterday, or we'll catch up on replay for the little jar that I used to make the little snowman card. Right, this is dark granny apple green, so I'm literally going to do a quick amount of colouring just here. So for speed, what I do if I'm in a hurry is just scribble in the centre of those leaves. Make sure that you can see what I can see. Just make sure, hopefully you can. So just literally a scribble. That is all I'm doing in those, the centre line for each of these, and that one. Okay, oh, and I better do this one while I'm at it. I'm going to do them all the same colour, just for speed, but obviously you could change the colours or have different shades of pink, for example. And I'm not exactly sure what flowers they are. They're not Christmas roses. They look quite like poppies when you do them in red. So that's why I chose the red and the red glimmer paper. So when you're colouring to die cut, it's much easier to colour first and then die cut, because if you've got a very small piece, it's more difficult to hold on to it, to get it coloured in. Whereas here, as you can see, I can just literally hold the bottom of that. And I'm thinking, because of the change in the weather, I might shift my Thursday Facebook Live, because that's the only one I do in the evening. I might shift it back to 8 o'clock so that I can walk the dogs before it's dark. So I will keep you posted. Yes, that's right. Think about that. So these postage stamp dies are still available. This isn't the largest one. There is a larger one available in the set. But very useful. You can cut, well, I missed that one. You can cut at least 2 layers of card at the same time. Possibly 3. Depending on the thickness of the card, and because there's no stitching, it doesn't matter at all. Okay, I will lift this up in a second, just trying to do it relatively quickly for you so I don't send you all to sleep. And I, as I said on Wednesday, I made a whole set of these and I just got carried away until my pens ran out. So which reminds me, I better order some more Calypso Coral. I will check in case it's in my spare stash. I do keep some spare ones ready, especially granny apple green and crumb cake, because they get used a lot of the time. Coffee and card, old olive as well, and mossy meadow. Okay, there's my greenery bits. Let's do the same really quickly with the flowers. What was a good idea? Caroline's saying good idea, but I don't know what that was for. So, again, just a little bit on each, a little bit round the centre, like so, a bit round the bottom. You could do around the edges as well. Just for speed, I'm not going to do that. Ah, good idea about starting at 8 o'clock. I've just caught up. Thank you, Caroline. I think I will do that because it's light at the minute. I mean, obviously it's a bit of a moving battle, isn't it? But there we go. Okay. Thank you. Oh dear, I did catch up in the end. Oh, I haven't done this one. Let's do this one. Hopefully you can see where I'm colouring in. I'm certainly not an expert at colouring. There's a lot more demonstrators who are excellent at that. Okay, and I've got now light poppy parade, not much in there though. Hopefully there will be enough. So just using a circular motion over those petals. You can leave a little bit of white space and then a circular motion over the join between the dark and the light. And when you go back over it, that's what gives it the blended look. Just softens the edge. Can't believe it's Friday tomorrow already. That one. Let me hold it up so you can see it a little bit better. Hopefully you can see that okay. So this is the one that I'm going to die cut out. This is going to be on the base part of my card, and I am going to add a piece of background card, and then this will go on a standard A6 card. Go. Trying to do it as quick as I can. Now in the background of here you could put some little dots, you could use a blending brush to blend in a little bit of background colour. If you've got a stamp with some dots or something on, you could use that as well. Or if you like the clean look, then you can just leave it as is. Okay, Okay, so remember, if you buy my stamp set of the week that it is the stamp set, anytime up until the Sunday, then you'll get the components for the cards that I make live. So you'll get the panel here, you'll get the base card, you'll get a coloured layer, envelope, etc. Okay, and the last few little bits. This is definitely nearly running out. I'm hoping it's gonna last. So if it gets to the point of running out and you're part the way through something, what I recommend you do is fill in but leave a white edge around the image, and then if you leave your blends penned for a little while, you'll probably find some of the ink will settle back and you'll get a sort of a little last burst of life. So if you can see here, I've left a little white border around here, and it's quite an effective way to do it anyway, save you some of the ink. But I'm going to stop at that point, and normally with the blends pens we recommend that you leave them flat like that so that the ink doesn't go to one end or the other. What I'm going to do is actually leave it standing up the other way, as it were. Okay, let's die cut this. So I'm going to pop that on here, and I don't know whether I'm just going to have that on the bottom. I think I probably am, and cut the bow off. So let me pop that. So I'm going to pop that on as is. I've got my machine just to the side of me. There we go. And one of the things I do, if I'm doing a lot of die cutting, which you can see I have been, when you do a lot, some of your plates can get dirty, so you can just rinse them out, or you can scrub them if you've got like a bristle brush or something like that, because obviously ink and things like that transfer, and also some glue. If I find it's marking, especially if you're cutting white card, what I do is I'll take a piece of just thin printer paper. Thin is the key. You don't want an extra thick layer. This has been used rather a lot because I used it for my class in a box. And just add that on top of the piece that you're cutting, so that none of the dirt from the plate goes onto your white card. So there's just a little tip for you there. If you've got nice clean plates, it won't be an issue at all. Okay, there we go. I can see it moved a little bit because I put it in and I didn't check it, but I think we'll get away with that. Alright, so this piece is going to go onto there. But I'm just wondering whether to lift it up a little, or actually I'm going to stick it down there so that I've got space for my sentiment. But what I am going to do is just cut that little bow out so you can see what it looks like. So I happen to have some red glitter paper. So I say I may not use it, it may also be a bit too big for this, but just so that you can see, just going to pop that through. So this is as it comes out. So you've got the bow element, which I've dropped, and you've got the little ribbon, and there is also a tiny little square that fits on the top as well. When it's glitter, I don't think you need that on the top. So the question is, I could have that a little bit higher and add this in. I'm going to cut basically the bow that's on there and add that. What do we think? I'm not sure it needs it actually, because that's going to be cut off there, isn't it? You could put it in a corner, I guess, like so, but I wanted to show you that as a die. Okay, I'm going to chop this off, I've decided. Like that. What I should have done is, well, because I've got an edge. Just going to trim this out a little bit. So it looks a bit less like I've cut the end off. There we go. Alright, let's find a sentiment to go across the top. Let's see. I've got that happy birthday's a bit too big. This was the one that I was talking about being half price, Unbounded Love, by the way, just happened to be there. So 25 stamps. So we've got this really nice, you've got a nice selection. So you've got happy birthday, best of luck. You have a sympathy, my heart goes out to you, a nice just for you, to you and yours. And then you've got hope, love, faith and peace, and then little sentiments that go with that. A hello, a celebrate, a friend, to you and yours. So I highly recommend that, to grab that while it's on offer. And funnily enough, that's not a cling stamp set, that is photopolymer, but it is £12. I just happened to catch it this afternoon. Right, let's put this happy birthday, or let's celebrate, across the top. You may, Caroline, I will sort that for you. And I'm going to stick that with, I'm still going to do early espresso. I'm deliberating whether to do it in the red, but just for speed, I will do early espresso. Just looking for my other block. There it is. You might need to send me a message to remind me, Caroline, because the messages are difficult to play back when they're on a video. So if you don't mind sending me a separate message, that would be helpful. I'm probably ordering tonight anyway, so hopefully between now and then I won't forget. Okay, so here's happy birthday, centrally, give or take. There it is. Is that one there? And I'm just going to trim this edge because I didn't cut it particularly well. And it's not too bad because it's white on white, it's not as noticeable. Okay. so that's going to go on there. And what I might try and do, I was going to try and sort of cut the little postage stamp bit out of it, but I don't think I'm going to bother. Just going to make it slightly narrower. Just so it's going to fit in there, be a bit less obvious. I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals, I think, and then I'm going to stamp my background, and my card will be done. I'm going to layer it up. There we go. So this is going to go on here, complete with a hair. If I can find it. I think it's gone. So, hi Scylla, thanks for joining us. Just going to press that down. So there we have that. Then I'm going to grab a background layer, and I will probably use Poppy Parade, if I can see one to hand in my box of goodies. This is Poppy Parade. And there's my little bow, it's very cute. I'm going to do the same thing and stamp this around the edge. It's just such an easy way to get a background. I'm going to stamp it in an early espresso. Hope you're well, Scylla. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I'm just going to do this at an angle. And in fact, when I did this on Tuesday, not on this colour but a different colour, it looked lovely, even just on its own, with a big sentiment. So I must remember, I might actually do that really quickly after this, just to show you how nice it looks, especially on a lighter card. Okay, so I'm just coming around the edges. I'm keeping it relatively vertical to the edge. There we go. You can see that or not. This is going to go onto there, and then onto my base card. No, it's definitely too big. It's very nice, but it's too big for that purpose. Okay, let me just grab another coloured background, because I just want to show you how lovely it looks. Now I can't decide which colour. There we go. I've got bubble bath, that will do. So, and I'll still do it in early espresso. What I'm going to do is actually stamp a large sentiment. So we've got this happy birthday. So what I'm going to do is stamp that first, like so. Will that fit on there? Let's take that one off. And I'm just going to stay with the same colours. There's not a huge amount of ink on this. I have 3 early espresso ink pads because they get used all of the time. Let's just put that in the middle, hopefully straight, and if not I'll turn it over. Yeah, got away with that. It's a lovely set of stamps, this. Okay. And then it's going to do this around the edges. And the reason for stamping the sentiment first is then you can get quite close, if you wish, to the text, and you also know how much space you've got. And then I'm going to bring this round the top. And then these are going to be slightly shorter, so I've got plenty of space at the top. And then just that little bit in there. Let me show you. Isn't that pretty? Even though it's just espresso ink on bubble bath card. So nothing special, but I think it just really works. Right, let's pop these together and onto 2 cards, and we are done. So, oh, they're both landscape, that's handy. Right, I've not lose my die. Let's cut this. So I'm going to score this a 14.85. And then cut at 10.5 centimeters, which is halfway in the other direction. Oh my goodness, it's nearly dark, look. 10 to 8. So yes, next week I will definitely start my live at 8 o'clock on Thursday. So I'm just going to do that one. I'm just going to do it as is. I was thinking about putting a layer behind it, but I'm just going to keep it straightforward and simple. Just, you know, goes to show that if you've got a stamp set out and you've got some odd bits of card at the ready, then just have a play. There we go. And you can do that with so many different stamps. This could be balloons going around, and it doesn't really look like it's from the same set because you've got only a portion of it. It looks quite, in my mind anyway, it looks quite different. Let's pop this layer down. These are our poppies. I might have got some red ribbon to hand. Whether I use that or not. Okay. The other thing I could have done is just stamp the tip of the image in this gap here, here and here. I won't do it now I've placed this down unless I took this off, but just to fill that gap in. I could also use a bit of a blending brush to add a little bit of greenery just to fill in that white space. So This has got the tiniest amount of green on it. See if it's got any more. No. So because I cleaned all my inks, all my blending brushes, they don't have a surplus amount of ink on them anymore. They will do. Give them a few weeks. Okay, let's just add a little bit of the same colour. So this is Granny Apple Green, but I'm only going to do it very lightly in that across the bottom, just so it's a little bit less dark. Okay. Like so, if you can see that. And by the same vein, I could add a little bit of blue in the sky if I wanted to. What do we think? I'm not sure I'm going to actually, because these are then all in keeping. So the green and the red, whereas if I introduced blue, it's additional colour. So I'm going to place this on. I'm going to place this flat. Because I've got dimensionals under that layer already. Now you could do as Caroline did, which was just stamp and not use the dies. She just stamped and did a little bit of masking. This is my cheats masking, which is stamp the behind the scenes and then cut one out to put on the top. There we go. And there's our pretty poppy card. And if I can see my bling to hand, see if I've got any of those little red embellishments. I have. Just going to add those, and I think probably I have some bubble bath ones to put on my other card. Yes, there are some hovering here at the bottom. Come on, up you come. Or you could use the butterflies, of course, or anything else. Right, so let's just pop 3 of these on. When these have gone, they've gone, I'm afraid, because they're not available anymore. These little red embellishments, which is a shame. I think it's something we should stock all the time. I have put it in our suggestion box. There we go. There's that one there. And then this one here, I've got some coordinating large and small dots. It's 1, 2. Oh, that one's snuck around the other side. And 3. There we go. You could also add some Winker Stella, especially to these. Let me see if I've got a new one here. Let me just add that. Looks better than the one you did. Well, I don't know. I think I dispute that. You did a very good job of yours. And you weren't able to die cut it, so just going to add Wink of Stella. So this is our glitter brush. Not sure whether that will pick it up for you. Let's just do that on here. It's very fine glitter suspended in that ink. And we're done. So I hope you like the finished cards. I know one was a bit more plain than the other. That was just a sort of extra. But there we go. There's a little bit of glitter on each of those. Not sure whether you can see it. I can see it from here, but I'm not sure how much the lamp will pick that up in the light. So there we go. I will add a best wishes or birthday wishes on the inside of that one. There's the other one that I did, just as to show you that you could create a really quick card almost with any stamp that you can put around the outside. So that was the bonus card, and then these are some of the ones that I did earlier in the week. So nice and straightforward. You wouldn't believe it was a Christmas set, would you? So thank you so much. I will be back Monday morning with a new stamp set of the week for next week, and that will be a Christmas themed stamp set, so I look forward to joining you then. I hope you have a great weekend. I have got a class in Buckingham next Saturday, the 20th of September, and then the following week we have our Let's Get Creative all-day event on Saturday the 27th. That is fully booked, and we also have a waiting list, but I do have spaces for the Buckingham class, and that will be Christmas cards. So if you're wanting to join me for that, just send me a message and I can book you on. And Caroline, thank you for ordering that Unbounded Love stamp set. I will add that to my order, but please do send me a private message on one of the platforms just to prompt me, and also when it comes in so I know who it's for. Thank you so much. Do take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I hope you can keep crafting. Bye for now.